is there a test? Can you actually measure something? Can I image something in your brain? Let me ask you this way. Do you think that there is something that I can actually image in your brain, or something I can measure in blood to tell me how severe a concussion is, how long it lasts, and when it's over, when I can go back and resume behavior? Is there such a thing? Are you aware of anything? The answer is no, there isn't. I'm trying for 40 or 50 years. Sometimes people come up with various things to try it, but so far there are no trials that say that you can take a blood sample and tell you that your concussion is severe with like lots of accuracy, or when it's over. Those are the kinds of things that people do research on, that we discuss. Behavioral scientists would say, well, how does a concussion interfere with behavior? How does it interfere with learning? Maybe when you had your concussion, you actually went to your teacher and said, I've been told I actually can't look at my computer screen for a little bit, which is true. You shouldn't. If you got certain kinds of concussions, certain severities. And even if you did, it's not going to be helpful in terms of your learning, because your learning is interfered with. Maybe you requested an accommodation and didn't do a test because you actually couldn't sit down and do it and focus on it, or you couldn't study for it. Those are all warranted. So concussions interfere with learning. Is there something you can do, or a strategy you can do to kind of compensate for that interference? Well, yes. If you're a kinesiology student in the appropriate course, you would learn that. And you'd learn about the research questions and about the research that is ongoing in my faculty and many other universities and hospitals. Social sciences. So those of you who had concussions because you're participating in sports, were these school sports? Very nice, yeah. Why in the world are public taxes of your parents and others being used to support a framework and an institution of learning where you know there's a risk of concussions that will interfere with that very learning? Now, I'm doing this grammatically, posing a question intentionally to be provocative, but it's a real question. I get it all the time at a university. We're a big university. We have 44 teams representing the University of Toronto, 44 different sports, about 1,000 varsity athletes, tens of thousands of athletes who participate in intramural sports. So, and people get concussions. And we're spending university operating funds on providing them that framework to do that. Why? Should we? What in the world are the benefits that outweigh that risk of interfering with learning? Well, I could ask questions and I could answer and argue either side of that at length. And we do in courses about, again, sports and public participation and the value of sports. By the way, I don't blame your school for having sports. I think it's wonderful. And hopefully the appropriate conditions are in place to mitigate the risk of incurring concussions. So now you get a feel for what kinesiology is, and let me see what time I'm supposed to finish. What kinesiology is, and then you can study it from lots of different ways. You know, you're getting ready for university, and you may be thinking, what university should I go to? Maybe you take the time to look at world rankings, I don't know, but you can on the internet. There's a few different world ranking systems of universities, and they take into consideration how many professors there are per student at the university, what are the average class sizes, what's the research of the university like, how many citations of the research by the various professors, what's available, what are the employability statistics of students, what are they doing when they graduate, what's their impact. They have all kinds of, they survey student satisfaction, all kinds of variables. And they end up ranking universities. There's also one that ranks disciplines. So they'll rank what's the best university for political science, what's the best university for sociology, what's the best university for kinesiology. And of course, I'm highlighting that one because we're ranked there among the top 10 in the world for kinesiology. You won't see too many American universities there, and you'll find 3 Canadians. The Canadian ones are there because they're good, but also because Canada was the first country to actually use the term kinesiology as an academic discipline. So other countries come later. So there's a bit of a head start, so that's one of the reasons. There's excellent programs in your country and in your state here in kinesiology. And so we're very fortunate if it is a really sincere interest of you. You got lots to choose from. It also makes it difficult to choose how to choose. So Toronto, if you're interested in an international experience, I'll come back to how much it costs and all of it later. But if you're interested in an international experience, but one that perhaps won't be as dramatic as going to a country where English is not the first language, then Toronto is a pretty amazing city. I've lived in lots of places, including here. I've lived in San Diego for a long time, doing work for your military, and lived in Europe, and I've lived in the Middle East, and lived in lots of places. If I have to live in a big city, I can't think of another one I'd rather live in than where I am right now. It is big, so after Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, it's the fourth largest city in North America. It's pretty diverse, so in an unplanned fashion, it really is an amazing social experiment with people from a gazillion different countries, and our demographics at the university reflect that. So we have about 90,000 students. You may find one other university bigger than that, the California system, but it's a big university. The downtown campus is about 67,000 students. That's where our program is. And but of those 67, about 16,500 are first-year students. And what you'll find is over 60% of them actually identify as non-white. And that reflects the internationalization, diversity, and equity within Canada, and primarily within Toronto. And it won't be surprising to see that statistic when you understand that 50% of the population of Toronto, there's about 6 million people there, Greater Toronto area, are actually born not just outside of Toronto, not just outside of Ontario, but actually outside of Canada. It's an amazing statistic. And you can't help but be exposed during the academic experience to that diversity, and really it's challenging, and it's wonderful when you're a student to understand that people bring different values with them. And many of them are either first-generation Canadians or actually had just arrived in Canada a year before. We have about 25% of our student population who are international. I'll come back to that. A few of them are Americans. Most of them are not. They're from other countries. And the fact is, we would like to attract more Americans, which is one of the reasons I'm here. Even though we're a big place, we take 250 students in the first year. It's a 4-year honors program. And those 250 students, we get about 10 times that number of applications. Most university programs across North America have absolutely no problem attracting students. It's a popular program. And I'll understand why by the time I'm finished. Lots of people take it. And to be very frank and sincere, as a parent as well, as an academic, I can tell you that it's a really good foundational degree, regardless of whether you end up staying in that field. It prepares you to do other things at university. The degree itself. Don't let the name, don't get hung up on the name, and this is general advice. The name of the degree of which wherever you're going to go to, anywhere, kinesiology or anything else, should not be a factor in you determining what university you go to. So as someone who actually recruits and administers and looks at admission applications for doctoral students, for master's students, I sit on boards for a medical school as well. The undergraduate degree name is not something that people look at. They look at what courses you've taken and what your grades are. So some places the kinesiology program will be located within a college of education. It may very well be a Bachelor of Education degree, not a Bachelor of Kinesiology. Some places it'll be a Bachelor of Arts in Kinesiology, or a Bachelor of Sciences in Kinesiology, or a Bachelor of Arts of Human Kinetics, or a Bachelor of Sciences in Human Movement Sciences, or Exercise Sciences, or a Bachelor of Arts in Sports Medicine. Here in the States, you have sports medicine as an undergraduate program specializations. No other place does, because it's not allowed in other countries, because you got to be a physician to be able to call yourself anything in sports medicine. But don't let the degree name be your influencing factor. You think of other things, lots of other factors, but not that. So our program is one where we have, of course, theory. You have to take coursework, lots of lab work. You won't have a single course where it'll be like what I'm doing now with you, sitting and talking to you. It'll always be a combination of sitting and talking with lots of other learning modalities. Frequently in labs, small tutorial groups. We have lots of increasing number of what we call flipped classrooms. So the actual work you do on your own, you're guided, you're told what to read, what to prepare.
You still have 12 minutes.
It's what?
12 minutes.
I have 12 minutes. Okay. I get a special buzzer every time
Yeah.
it's 12 minutes done? Excellent. But you will actually do the work on your own, come to class, and we'll talk. Whatever you want to talk about related to the course material, or I may have some quizzes, questions, just to see, let you see if you've learned enough in terms of what I was expecting. And lots of field trips, opportunities, because we're such a big place. We do have a mandatory physical activity we call a practica component. It's not to teach you how to be more fit or to teach you how to be able to play basketball or hockey better. It's actually to take the concepts you learned in class about biomechanics, about lifting, about movement, about gait, as in G-A-I-T, walking, movement, and how to actually apply those with populations using your understanding of kinesiology. I'm going to skip immediately, actually, to something else, which is our experiential learning opportunities. And it's a key part of our component, both the third and fourth year. Students get the opportunity to actually have a placement. It's not a co-op program where you get paid and you take a term off school and then come back to school and finish. It's actually 4 credit. Both in third year you can do it, or in fourth year, or both. And you get to see how people with kinesiology degrees are earning a living, what they're doing. And these are all examples because we're a big place. We've got about 150 different affiliation agreements with settings where we send our students to go and work. It could be an absorption center for new immigrants. It could be in a sports medicine clinic. It could be in a cancer survivorship program. There's a whole new field called exercise oncology, where exercise is used for prehabilitation, not rehabilitation. But before cancer patients are actually operated on for surgery or get radiation therapy or get chemotherapy, you can actually tailor exercise programs for them to optimize the outcome of those interventions. It's a whole new field. Working with disabled people, that's what Variety Village is, so different kinds of disabilities, and tailoring physical activity and sports for them, adapting it. Increasingly, we get old age homes where people who have kinesiology expertise are actually employed to use their understanding of whole body exercise prescription, not like a physiotherapy to treat an injury, but whole body exercise prescription so people can live independently longer. Working with high performance athletes, our students, we have a few professional teams in Toronto. One of them I just happened to mention that won the NBA championship last year, the Toronto Raptors, and there's the Maple Leafs, the Toronto Football Club, and a variety of other ones. And we have students, they all have sports scientists working for them. Most professional teams, I assure you, Pittsburgh Steelers have a sports scientist. The Penguins also have a sports science people working with them. So our students get a chance to work with those who want to and for whom there's place, and if they're quick off the mark, they get a chance to work in those settings as well and see how you can actually make a living being a sports scientist. So across the health spectrum, across the human performance spectrum, get a chance to see how people are earning and making a living with kinesiology degrees and how they're doing it. What else can I skip to here? I think I'm going to skip right through to what our students do. I've just talked a bit about that. They go into all of those fields directly after their undergraduate degree. Many of them use it as a way to meet the prerequisites to apply to medicine or physiotherapy or occupational therapy, to go into teaching, or to go into graduate studies. So as a prerequisite to actually jump into some other field, a graduate program or a professional degree program. Our students, we've got about 500,000 alumni, and they come from all over the world. This is where our first year students are coming from. The size of the balloon there actually tells you what country, kind of the relative proportion of our student population that's coming from that part of the world. So you can see there's a big balloon over Canada and the United States, of course. So there are lots of Americans who come. About 25% of our student body is made up of foreign students. And I'd say maybe 10%, 8 to 10% of those are from the United States. It's a great university. It's ranked everywhere you look by ranking systems, pretty much no matter what the field, as a good university. So if you're looking for something that will give you academic credentials for doing something else, it's a great place to think of. There's a few universities who are ranked in lots of disciplines among the best in the world, and only a few. You can see the names there. Hopefully you recognize them. They're really prestigious places, and they include the University of Toronto. And among the 37 subjects that the University of Toronto has ranked 37 their best in the world is, of course, the one